welcome back, viewers, to Mr. J's Big Book of Movies, where my quest is to find the best movies in the land to put into my Big Book of Movies. What is the Big Book? The Big Book of Movies is a personal collection of films I feel should be immortalized for what they are. What does it take to get into the Big Book of Movies? Exactly. Today's movie is a fun movie back from the 90s that I never forgot about. Dun, 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 dun. But I actually never understood what it was about. And I don't even think the writers or actors knew what it was about. Dun, 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 dun. That's right, baby. We're talking about Speed. Speed? No, not that one. Speed? No, not that one either. Yes. Speed was released June 10th, 1994. It was directed by Jean Desbont and stars Keanu Reeves, Dennis Hopper, and Sandra Bullock. IMDb states that a young police officer must prevent a bomb exploding aboard a bus by keeping its speed above 50 miles an hour. Well, that is what the movie is about. One thing that I remembered loving about this movie was everything and the ridiculous lines that they said. But one thing I didn't remember, and I had to rewatch this movie to remember, is what the hell the movie was about. This was a nice little thrill ride, but let's see what the Rewatch scale has to say about it. Starting off at the top, we have the Rewatch Factor. I gave this movie a 4. This is a personal favorite. And I'm surprised that it still had as much fun to it now that it did before. I'm like, wow, this was a real good, stupid, fun action movie. And this is the type of movie where, like, you like it so much, when you pick it apart, it doesn't piss you off. Like, how can a city bus jump 50 feet on a non-upward incline while on a curb at the same time? And why the hell is there a random piece of freeway just missing? What the hell is that? But anyway, it's fun though, and the ridiculousness and seriousness at the same time is part of what the movie was about. It's just shit crashing into each other and blowing up, and you really didn't care what the storyline was. So as far as the Rewatch Factor, I give it a 4. Going to storyline, I actually gave the storyline a 4. Now hear me out. No Academy Awards being passed out, but there were some pretty cool things. There was a scene where Jack, the main character, his car is this like silver Jeep looking thing, and it looked a lot like how he was switching lanes in the OJ chase. You know, I was like, that's interesting. And ironically enough, the events that, you know, Speed, which was released June 10th, and the OJ Speed chase were really close together. So that was kind of interesting to me. One of the things that happens is Keanu Reeves leaves his car on the freeway, yet there's cops dealing with the car. So I don't know if it was implied that the cops already knew who Keanu Reeves was. And he hijacks someone's car, breaks his door off, and jumps from the car onto the bus. And you can see his legs buckle, so obviously traveling over at 50 miles an hour on a freeway, your legs are going to buckle, the knees are broken, and the bottoms of your legs are being ripped off. But because of movie magic, you know, whatever. And last thing I wrote down was the paint bomb that was in the bag of money. What about everything that's below that paint? I mean, I understand that you can't spend the top half of the money, but what about everything that's below it? I mean, it was a giant duffel bag. It wasn't even a duffel bag. It's one of those, like, types of bags that you carry your bats in. So I wonder why criminals don't use what's on the bottom. I don't know. The way he died at the end was very extreme, and that was one of the worst lines in cinematic history. 'Cause I'm taller. But whatever. But I feel it was a fun ride. I don't even know where I would change things as opposed to bring things up to make conversation. So I feel that storyline is a pretty good 4. The characters were over the top, but I feel they weren't over the top on purpose. I give characters a 3. Jack was actually one of the smartest cops that I've seen in a very long time, that actually analyzed situations, and although he took risks for realistic reasons, so I applaud him for that. His partner was a dumbass, whatever, and the villain, his whole thing was the fact that I guess he used to be a cop, and he didn't receive enough money for his pension. So he planned on blowing up elevators and buses for 2 years, and then it was finally foiled. That was his motivation. So that was one of the weirdest things. And I didn't put that in the plot or storyline because I felt it was so minuscule. You were so focused on the action of it, not the actual storyline. So, the other police officers were just told dumb as shit. When Jack was underneath the bus and the wire buckled, like, his own sergeant didn't even react to it. Was just like, oh, okay, it just broke. So I give characters a 3 because, let's not forget Sandra Bullock crying the entire time and how she was like the savior of the people on the bus. It was her character is actually really weird, and how that turned her career around is amazing, because I guess all she did was look cute and complain. I don't know. Appearance is very simple. I get a 4. This looked great. Period. There's not much to say. There are some terrible green screens, which is why I didn't get a 5. And for a 1994 movie, this looked excellent. So I didn't go ahead and push for a 5. But this was an amazing movie. It gets a 4. And it's just underneath a 5. Just some of those green screens were just real bad. Enjoyment-wise, this movie gets a 5. It's still great. It's still fun. It's still awesome. And it's never gonna not be fun. I didn't think that after all this time, it would still hold up. I thought it was gonna be one of those movies that you thought was cool when you were younger, and then you see it later on, and then you're like, wow, this movie sucks. But it's totally opposite. Like, this is still a great thrill ride. And just the whole concept of it, I think, is pretty cool, and I'm glad that it still stood up to the sands of time. Alright, everybody, you know what we do here. This is the time where we add up the 5 categories, and the 5 categories equals a score. And that score equals a grade. So, starting at the top with the Rewatch Factor, we have Speed receiving a 4. Going to the storyline, we have Speed receiving a 4. Going on to characters, we have Speed receiving a 3. For appearance, we have Speed receiving a 4. For enjoyment, we have Speed receiving a 5. That total score equals 20 points. That 20 points equals a B. That's a pretty high B. And I understand why it's not an A movie, but the lowest score is characters. I don't feel that would change. Rewatch Factor, I don't think this is something that Earth needs to stop to see and watch it right now. But I would say this is one of the movies, like, you know how they had those 1001 books? movies you should see before you die. I believe this should be on that list. This is a pretty kick-ass movie. Storyline, no Academy Awards, appearance. Maybe if I gave the benefit of the doubt on the appearance, that may have been the point where it would have received to get it to an A. But, as I say on my podcast, the numbers don't lie. So, last but not least, does Speed get into the big book of movies? You're damn right it does. 2 thumbs up on that one. Nostalgia? Oh yeah. Still stands up today? Oh yeah. What do? You love it. Alright, that's all the time we have here today on Mr. J's Big Book of Movies. Hit me up anytime, anywhere, MWS_@yahoo.com. Follow me anytime, anywhere on Twitter @I for an I, spelled just like my podcast. My Facebook fan page, I cannot talk today. My Facebook fan page @I for Mr. J. And below, leave comments, questions, concerns, ideas, not ideas. That's what it's there for. And as far as I'm concerned, this chapter is now closed.